it on mute? It's live. All right, you guys, we are here at the Lioness Experience podcast show. I hope y'all are ready for some juice tonight. We have an amazing guest tonight, and we're talking about how to overcome triggers. What y'all know about mental health triggers?
Well, we're going to learn a lot tonight.
We're going to learn a lot tonight. We're going to talk about a lot. We're going to help some people tonight. We want to be very transparent. At this time, we are going to go ahead and share this with our followers on our page. So if you can, please go ahead and share with us. We have 3 viewers.
I don't see the link.
Refresh your page. If you want to share it, just refresh your page. And it should be on the main page, and you hit share. Wait, the camera's not switching. You know? And, yeah, it's not switching. That's what I thought. And how do I do it? Did you find the link, Akimi?
Yes, I found how to do it. Yes, thank you.
Great. Thank y'all for tuning in. It was muted?
No,
Great.
it's not. Yeah, no, it's not.
I could tell you just we're on, baby. We're on. I hear us
Definitely
loud
hear
and
you.
clear.
The cameras aren't switching though.
That one, I need that camera. Mhm. Don't let anything trigger you. Don't let anything trigger you. When things don't work out, don't let it trigger
Let me
you.
make a call once again.
It's all right. We're going to keep it moving. We'll let her figure it out. We had a couple of technical difficulties, but we're going to keep it going. I am Millie. Henderson, Camille Henderson. I am your host for the Lioness Experience. Today, we are talking about overcoming triggers. I have a few beautiful lionesses with me. I have Miss Akimi.
Hey everybody, good evening.
Tell us a little bit about you, Akimi.
Well, hey, this is Akimi, aka Lady. So I am in real estate with Watkins Select Properties, buy and sell, lease and invest properties. If you are interested in one or the other, hit me up on Facebook, WSP, at Watkins Select Properties, WSP. Akimi.WSP. There's not much to say. I'm from Florida. I have 2 children and a grandbaby that's cute as patootie.
Okay.
Okay. Just I love what I do. I love life, and I'm trying to live the best I can.
I love it. Well, we thank you for being a part of this beautiful project. We also have another queen in the house. We have Destiny from D Wig Collection. What's going on?
Hey everybody.
How you feeling
everybody
today?
doing? I'm feeling good.
You feeling good? Tell us a
Feeling
little
good.
bit about you.
Well, I'm Destiny. I am the owner of D Wig Collection. I will make your wig for you, however you want it.
I love
Up,
it.
short, down, long.
I love it. Okay. Thank y'all for being here tonight. It was raining tonight, but we pressed through, and it looks good outside. It's dry right now. But I do want to introduce to y'all an amazing young man. He was referred to me by another amazing young man. His name is Mr. Cleveland Robinson. Put some respect on his name. He's been in the mental health field for 10 years or more. He's from Florida as well, Orlando, Florida.
All right.
He is the man.
Okay.
He has counselors that work for him, okay? So we are glad to have you here. Mr. Cleveland, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself.
Happy to be here. It's Cleveland Robinson, your real soul ambassador. That's what I go by. And happy to be here, man. The host, Millie, is... she got a lot of energy, and I like it.
Thank you. Doesn't she, right?
She got a lot of energy.
I love it.
But
I love
yeah,
it.
definitely happy to be here, man, and kind of talk to everybody about triggers. We're going to talk together. I'm going to learn something. Hopefully everybody who talking going to learn something. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, we're going to do that. That's what we're going to do. So I know it's kind of hard sometimes. It kind of feel like testimony service. But what's new? Like, it's a new season. Like, this year is halfway over. Like, what do y'all have?
Okay, don't say that.
It's halfway
up.
over.
You speak up.
This
Right.
year,
Started
baby, this
early.
year is March is gone. We going into May tomorrow. So anybody have anything new? For me, I have a weight loss doctor now.
Oh,
So I plan on
congratulations.
dropping some weight real
I saw you
soon.
walking the other day. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah.
you didn't call me to come out
I'm
there and get my
sorry.
stroll on.
I have to do something about this weight. and I've been trying by myself for so long. So now I have Dr. Kelly, Nurse Kelly, is helping me over by the Galleria. So when y'all see the weight falling, don't be trying to talk to me then, because back
do you hear
then you
me?
didn't want me, and when I'm hot, you gonna be all on me.
What made you go through the workout journey?
Well, the
Was
weight,
it
well,
you or something happened to have to push that?
nothing pushed it. I've been really trying to lose weight for a long time. A long time. I lost weight. I lost 35 pounds one time. I was like, okay, I can do it. Like that, when I lost that first 35 pounds, I was like, I can do this. Like I know what it takes. Then I got married. I lost 60 pounds. Then
You have him or you? From you dropped him or
no,
you?
I dropped him eventually, but I dropped the 60 pounds first, and then I got married. And then after I got married and realized some things were not going to work out, I dropped him.
Okay.
And
So
then
that's a whole nother
I
100 and
dropped
something.
60 more pounds. So it's been a
Yeah.
journey of going up and down,
Yeah.
up and down. And when you have mental health issues,
Yeah.
not that I have mental, but we all have issues
Something.
mentally. But I don't claim anything. But you go up and down. You fluctuate. You have
Yeah.
good days. You have bad days. Or I'm just gonna eat my wicked wings from Golden Chick. That's been that's a
Them things
trigger
so
for
good,
me.
though.
I love them
Them things
doggone
so
wicked
good,
wings.
though.
But I'm doing better with that. So I do have a weight loss doctor, and it feels good
That's
to
good.
start over new.
That's
You know, I really feel like this is gonna work
This is
this
that season
time.
for you.
Good.
That's
Yeah.
good. I'm proud of you.
Yeah. What about y'all?
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say, nothing's not new because every day is a new day.
Yes.
I'm really looking forward to, I guess if we're looking at a season, the summer
Okay.
season, you know what I'm saying? I'm really blessed and grateful of the journey that I've been on right now since the year. Because, with work, we always say, the beginning of the year, the new season, that's kind of like a fresh start for a lot of people. So things good have been happening, some things not so good, but I think what I really like, what's new with me is how I act or how I receive what's going on, whether it's good or bad. You know what I'm saying? So my reaction to the actions. So when something doesn't go my way, it's just like, you know what? Maybe that just wasn't meant to be. So I'm not as, because I had something happen with my car, like, last week, and I was like, I'm not even upset about it. It's just like, you know what? I wanted a new car anyway, so.
It just happens like that.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I really like how I feel when things go wrong and how I act to things. I'm looking forward to summertime.
Oh yeah.
Got a trip planned to Jamaica.
Ooh.
Okay.
Baby,
I'm
I'm really,
hating.
I'm waiting. I said, you know what? Whatever part of the beach Stella was on, that's the
That's
part
where
I
you
want to
wanna
be
be
on.
with the blue water.
Do you hear me? I'm gonna need
Okay.
that little dark skinned chocolate man to come up out that water in slow motion. Heard me?
Oh, with the glistening. Okay.
Right.
Okay. Speak it.
Where
Manifest
he at?
it.
In slow motion, water and everything.
I know. I love it. I love
yeah,
it.
yeah, that's new. I'm just blessed. I'm
No,
really blessed.
no new houses, new listings.
Well, okay. Well, I guess that is new. I'm sorry. I'll be forgetting on that.
It's
Yeah. So I
okay.
do have a listing that I've had for a while. I was really, it took a minute to sell because just how the market is. But like in 2 days, not only did I have one offer on it, I had two offers on it, not two offers.
bless
And
you.
then they overpaid, not really overpaid, they really paid asking. But it was a really good negotiation and then really met some really good people in that process to we're going to do more business together. So it's a really good thing. I love when my clients are happy and I can exceed their expectations and give them what they need as well as the buyers because I like a win-win for everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That makes me feel good. So
Well, that's good.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Nothing new? You ain't nothing new?
Not yet. We
You,
get
you
into
ain't
it.
hire nobody new?
No.
You ain't hire no new employees?
you fire nobody,
That's
did you?
another
No
check.
piracy.
Okay, well, let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
dig right into it. We already know. We know what to say about these mental health triggers. A lot of people some people talk about triggers because a lot of people don't know about triggers. They don't really know what the true definition of a trigger. So, Dr. Robinson,
Cleveland. It's fine.
Mr. Cleveland, can you tell us the true definition of a trigger?
The best way to put it in terms people like to think about it is, your triggers are the fruits of your trauma. That's
Okay.
the good way to think about it. The triggers are the fruit of your trauma. Like everybody has a trigger, but they don't just come from nowhere. You know what I'm saying? And so, when you put in that perspective, you have to kind of think back. Darn, what have I been? What are the traumas I've been through? It could be anything. Like medical trauma is a type of trauma.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and that is, being hospitalized for a long time or a short time, or an accident happening in the hospital, which happens a lot. Believe it or not, the
Yeah.
nurses or the doctors doing something wrong to you or your kinfolk. Then of course we have normal trauma, talking about like custody divorce issues if you experience that. A divorce will definitely get on your behind. And relationship trauma, even for those who have been married, you know, like just dealing with relationships and love. That's a lot of the clients I'm getting now. Just people now realizing, man, I've been traumatized, you know, by all this dating I'm doing, but I'm messed up now. I don't even want to date no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
or I'm gay now.
Yeah, many things. You know, it makes you, you know, go to a polar opposite. But really, honestly, like love is good, but when we don't want it anymore, like something that's innate, it's coming from a trauma. A lot of times, 100% of the time.
I agree.
It's good that you say that, because one thing that I've been evaluating, I do a lot of self-checking with myself, and I never thought about, let's say, failed relationships or failed marriages being a trauma. You know what I mean? I guess if I were to put it in a word, I guess that's the word I would use, because I know, like in this season of my life, a matter of fact, I was talking about this the other day. Was it with my cousin, actually yesterday with my cousin, and I was saying to her, I was like, you know, in my mind, I'm thinking we all want to be with somebody, all want to be in a relationship, it all looks good sitting on a bench, old and gray, da 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 da, you know. But then I really sat and looked like, I don't even know if I know how to love somebody anymore. I don't even know if I know how to be in a relationship. I don't know. Like, a lot of that is like, I don't know how I feel. I mean, ultimately, I think we're programmed to think that we're supposed to be with that somebody at the end of time. But now it's like, well, how do I date somebody? How do I love somebody? How do I not look at somebody crazy because I don't like the way they chew, the way they walk, or whatever, like the little stuff, like, you know. And I don't know if it's being single for so long maybe says you're good, but then being single so long be like, man, this can't be healthy.
And you know, even on that tangent specifically, you know, the term I use is called relational trauma.
Okay.
And so relational trauma has something to do with your your untreated trauma from what relationships have done to you. So if you have gone through your whole history of dating and it consists of, you know, oh, I've been cheated on, or I was doing the cheating, or I've been lied on, or, you know, I've met someone who has, you know, abusive characteristics, or I went through domestic violence, or they had narcissistic or manipulative tendencies. You know what I'm saying? When you go through all of that over and over again, most people, after a relationship, don't be like, let me take some time and do some self-work and meditation and reflection. That's just not human nature. It's not innate. You got to literally do what you're doing and go all the way out your way and be like, I'm finna be 100% alone and single for a while and go to a therapist and then work on these issues. Because not only we talking about that, remember, every time we go into a relationship, we taking all the other trauma with us. So we got two bags. We got the trauma from my life on this hand, and on this hand, we got the trauma from all the relationships. And we taking both of them bags, and they getting bigger and bigger. From relationship to relationship. And then we'd be like, man, I don't know why it didn't work out. I can tell you. Why it didn't. Because we didn't pause for a moment and be like, let me dump these bags out.
And getting to know yourself, I think, you know,
mandatory.
Like I said, I never would have thought I would use the word trauma until, like, you know, I've had this conversation quite a while. I think we've had this conversation, like, you know, I don't know how to be in a relationship. I don't know if I would know how to be in a relationship. Does that make any sense? And the thing is, I was married at 19, so I've been in a relationship a lot of my life, you know. But then the trauma, I guess, as you say, goes back to it's failed after failed after failed. Then I said, well, what did I do that wasn't good enough? And I think that's where my mind is for every relationship. What did I do that wasn't good enough? What did I do? And then even when I think about it, things that I could have done different, because I'm really honest with myself as well. What could I have done different? And a lot of it's just like, I chose wrong.
And that could be a real thing too. You know, like I said, once we're dealing, that's why I advise everybody to treat therapy and to treat self-discovery preventatively. You know, we separate it from our physical body, you know, but really it's the same thing. And so, you know, like, you got to treat it preventatively to deal with all those things. So, you know, like with relationships, you need to go to a therapist. It's simple. If they got a wait list, get on that wait list. Or if you got to go to a coach, then go ahead and go to a coach. To go ahead and walk you through it if a licensed therapist not available. But on that other bag that I was talking about, then we looking at the other traumas, such as, you know, a lot of us are harboring trauma from how we were raised. That's actually been a real big portion.
Oh yeah, that's a lot.
Like when you said therapy, I saw a therapist, and come to find out, well, not to find out, like, but it's like trauma from my childhood. You know how we get
Major.
older and we're like, okay, that just is what it was, but really, it really is what it was. Like, I didn't know I was still harboring that, or that also, like you were saying, from our childhood for different instances can also carry on into other situations of how you react to those situations.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know, and so I guess that goes into untreated trauma, as you were saying. How do you treat trauma such as that from childhood? How can you treat trauma from childhood when that was so long ago, or even relationships that you've been in and no longer in? How is it is a treatment for that? How do you fix that?
I feel like it's gonna carry with you though.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of hard to go on to something else without still having what you had previously in the back of your mind. Even if you do go and get counseling, talk it out, try to release it, I feel like it's still gonna always be at the back of your head.
Right, absolutely.
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm gonna say this. I'm glad you brought that up. It's kind of like, once again, I like people to look at, mental health just like they look at physical health. So it's like,
Oh wow.
you get in an accident, right? And you go to the doctor, and the doctor has to put, stitches in your arm, right? It's a real big scar there, right? You're gonna see the mark,
You are.
and that's cool.
That's a good analogy.
But that still doesn't mean that you got to be walking around like your arm is injured. It's healed.
It's
Oh
healed.
wow.
You feel me?
Okay.
Oh, wow.
And so, like, healing means that I have went through something and I have got it treated. And even though I can still see the scar, I still need to act like I'm still injured.
Ooh, so how do you fully heal?
Say that again.
Everybody's process
Wow.
gonna be different, because once again, just like these scars and these injuries that we have, sometimes they all take a different type of treatment
Yes.
based off of how fast your skin heals,
Yes.
how fast, other issues you got in your body. Are you anemic? It's a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you gotta literally think of you have to not separate your mind and your body. They're existing together. You get what I'm saying? And so some people need to heal by themselves by reflection, like Akimi doing, right? But also some people need to heal within the community. That's another type of person. Some people have healed without a professional therapist. They just need a lot of support. They needed a little coaching. They need a little pulling along. My healing specifically comes from like a comprehensive approach. So I'm kind of introverted, so I spend a lot of time by myself, which is really healthy for me.
Okay.
But when I'm going through something, I need to not only be solo, but I also need to take a couple moments to make sure I'm working out just as much, to make sure I'm eating just as much, the
Yes.
right things. Because when I'm in a bad place, I always go to the negative side of the world.
Okay.
Yep.
My
I think
crutch is
that's
food.
human.
Oh.
So I'm going
going
hard on
in?
food. Oh man, makes me feel better. You know what I'm saying? So I have a bad relationship with food when I'm in a really bad place.
Okay.
And so when people are trying to heal, you got to specifically find what works for you. But you got to work at it. And here's the unfortunate part: ain't no time limit. Everybody comes to me, be like, "How long will I be working on this?" I don't know.
I don't know. I just met you first of all.
Yeah.
So I really don't know what you're capable of doing. So it just takes time. Like, everybody's different. As a teacher, a special ed teacher, I couldn't tell one student the directions one way. I had to not only tell them, I had to show them, I had to give them something to see, give them something to smell, taste, touch, to understand what I'm asking them to do, because they learn
Learning
differently.
style, yeah.
And it's
Visual,
all here.
auditory,
And
tactile,
like
yeah.
you said before, it starts at birth. When I went to counseling, before I got married, I went to marriage counseling, and they gave us a packet, and it was all these questions, but it was questions about your parent, like, how do you feel about your mom? How do you feel about your dad? And so when they ask questions like that, if you got a bad relationship with daddy, you going in, and they can, from your
All of that
perspective,
stuff stems.
it
It do
stems
stem.
from the way you were brought up. If you were brought up in the hood, you may be successful now. Like Kevin Hart, he's successful, but he was brought up in the projects. You know what I'm saying? His mom. It was a single parent. Dad was on drugs. So that doesn't mean that you have to stay in that box. What are you gonna do to get out of it? Because when I know I go back to my divorce, and I'm not trying to praise or do my thing.
It's important.
I
Go for
want to be transparent. I literally got me a counselor. And she's still my counselor to this day. I don't go to her daily, but if I needed her, I can call on her. She's a spiritual mother, but she's also a prophet, and she's a counselor. So literally, I knew that I could not move on in life because I was angry.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? So my first counseling session I had with my grandmother. It was a free consultation, but my grandmother and I, we were kind of fusing for a couple years, just fusing. I don't like to disrespect nobody, so I was being strategic. I was like, I'm gonna have my free counseling session with my grandmother, so that we can, because I can't do for other people if I can't do for the ones that
It's
are
true.
close to me.
It's true.
So you got to go to the root, and when you go to the root and do that heart work, and you get you a counselor, you'll be able to get out of that phase. Like, so many people are in fear. They have anxiety because they are hurt, and they're worried about something that don't even matter. You can't even live your life because you're still worried about something that happened 5, 20 years, 20
facts,
And I guess
years
that would
ago.
be trauma. That would be
Real
something
trauma.
you was traumatized by.
Yeah.
Because I mean, I look at it too. It's like something. Like I said, I've gotten I got a therapist, and I did marriage counseling when I got married, and had you know,
Okay.
when I was at the ends of being married, had a therapist also. You know, but what I've come to realize, a lot of traumas. Not trickle over, but if you haven't fixed this one, some of that makes this a problem.
Yes.
And some of that makes this a problem. And I think that one thing that I could say, well, I walked away with a lot, because the last time I went to therapist was probably last year before last. And it wasn't necessary. Well, I didn't think it was. I mean, you know, when you go and sit on the couch, it's like, let me unbag all this stuff. You know,
leave
you
it
thinking
right
you're
here.
coming for this, but you end up talking about one thing and didn't even get to what you thought you was coming for, right? But what I've realized is that, you know, one thing about me is I'm one of those, I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to worry about it. You know what I'm saying? If something happens, I try not to let it drain me. So I don't even want to talk about it. I don't want to do nothing. I just wanted to go away. I want to sleep, wake up the next day, and it's just gone.
Yeah.
You know
that's
what I'm
most
saying?
people.
I really, you know, and I didn't realize I did that. I thought that was being actually respectful to other people. Just, I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to give you my energy and
got
go
a
into that
deal.
conversation. I thought, you know, I'm going to put it in that drawer, leave it there, let it just go away. But what I realized is that the way, so as far as abandonment, that was one thing that I didn't know was heavy on me. Like because I think that's what I would say is, well, I don't understand why nobody don't want me. I don't understand why nobody don't treat me right. I don't understand. I mean, I'm here. I'm giving my all. I'm doing what I can. I'm being the best I can be. But then it's like, I just feel like everybody's gonna leave. You know, and we discovered one thing about, let's say, in relationships is, I've had some good relationships when they were good. I've met some really nice, kind people, but I can't enjoy at the time. Okay, I'm working on me. I can't enjoy the moment of right now, because I'm already like, okay, how is this going to end?
How's it going to end?
How's
Don't
this
even
going
think
to
about
end?
it.
I'm all like, this is good right now, but you know. And then I also know that our thoughts become things also.
Yeah.
The more we think about it, then self-sabotage. You know, because I get the I don't care attitude. As soon as you start doing stuff that's I ain't gonna keep telling you the same thing over and over again, because you're not my child, you're my man. You know what I'm saying? So now you're gonna do it. I'll be like, now I don't care attitude. Like, okay,
It's easier.
I don't care.
You know, it's easier to do that. And, you know, like, one of the things we kind of look at in that space when it comes to trauma is attachment styles. I was talking to another therapist this past weekend. She do a lot of couples work. And I do couples work, but it's specifically for communication. I don't do anything else. Only communication. And
I don't know if I got a problem with that part.
You're good with
I like
I don't think
communication real bad.
and so everybody growing.
I do.
Everybody growing. Everybody growing. Because I start focusing on that because it seems like, you know, that's one of the biggest things. Most couples divorce over communication. You know, money is a big one. You know, and
Money and
sex.
sex.
Those are probably like some of the top 3 things in finances.
But they
That's
all work
way up
together
there.
though.
And they all work together.
Yeah, no money, you can't
But
get no play. Can't
Communication,
get no play.
finance,
Can't get no communication.
period. And so it's kind of like, you know, I focus on that because that's how most of this is trickling. But we want to look at attachment styles. So everybody listening, look up attachment styles when you're coming up. And you'll kind of see like, when you look at attachment styles, it's like going to be like avoidant attachment style, things that matter. You'll be able to see it. And then start thinking about who you've dated and how you've dated. And what you said made a trigger to me. Secure attachment style. Like when you all look at attachment styles, you all see those different types. When you look at it, I want you to kind of parallel it to how you've dated and who you've dated. And it's going to say a lot about it. A lot of people deal with
Wow.
abandonment issues, like you said.
Yeah.
A lot of people who I've
So
counseled.
I'm not by myself.
Oh no, it's super common. So like when you have abandonment issues coming from how you know were raised at some point in your life, then you'll be quick to sabotage. It's easier to sabotage it because you can then prepare yourself. It's a defense mechanism.
It is, yes.
For when the shoe fall. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Versus saying, you know what? Good things can happen. We just gonna hold on. It's so hard to lay in that piece of faith when you've experienced this trauma over and over and over again. And so that's one of the biggest ones. Abandonment, toxic. We use that so much. But as a therapist, when I hear it different clearly.
How you hear it?
So when I hear toxic, I'm thinking actually like toxicity actually bonds people,
Right.
you know, because if you see a lot of relationships, it comes out and it looks like passion. And a lot of times, toxic relationships are bonded by sex a lot of times, a bunch of makeup sex, because of how you mask and kind of move on. If you really think about it.
Interesting.
So it's a cycle. Most people have
Instead of
really
fixing the issue, they
So-
go and have sex to, you know,
you can make it
just
go
keep
away.
going.
You
Yeah.
go and it's a cycle with most toxic relationships. You know, it's in some of them. You know, you argue, you all have conflicting traumas, and it's trauma bonding. I'm sure y'all heard that before. A lot of couples will come together because of trauma bonding, and it's kind of like y'all terrible together. Y'all fight, y'all cuss, y'all argue. Why y'all stay together?
I got 5 kids.
They got 5 kids together.
So y'all liked each other for a minute, sometime or another.
We bonded. We bonded through trauma. People do it all the time, and you can make up. You know, usually through sex or letting it go. It's a cycle. It's a cycle, and if you kind of step back from those relationships, you'll see it. It'll be like, we good now. We argue. We make up. We have sex. We good. We argue. Repeat.
Yeah.
You know?
But that is so mentally draining, though.
It can.
is.
It eventually
That's just
does,
so
yeah.
annoying. Oh.
We do have a question. How do you get rid of old attachment cycles so you don't sabotage a new relationship?
Akimi she just said it.
What'd she say?
So what you have to do is literally be honest with yourself first and like be willing to face it. A lot of folk not
Face
willing
it.
to face it. And so your attachment style generally occurs from your infancy.
Okay.
And so that's how the attachment style is initially developed. And so you first gonna have to kind of like be honest with yourself and be willing to actually, this is when it's really important to kind of find a therapist if you can, even for brief therapy, 3-4 sessions to just knock it out real quick and explore what your attachment style is. Once you explore what your attachment style is, then you can kind of seek to repair the traumas that attachment style is doing to your life.
Remind us attachment. When kind of explore that a little bit. Attachment. When you're saying attachment style, explain that a little bit more.
So there are different types of attachment styles, and therapeutically, you usually see them with little infants. And so, like a secure attached baby, for instance, will be a baby that's kind of even tempered and mellow when they take them away from their mom. So they're comfortable with their mom, but when they leave their mom, they're not crying and super frantic. You can take them to other people and they'll be cool. They have a balanced, secure attachment style. And so it's different type of attachment styles. And when they initially did the research, they did it looking at how babies have attachment styles and how that translated to your latter years in your life.
Oh, wow.
And so that's when it starts.
So
Call
it
it
started at birth.
starts at birth.
Oh.
Your
They need to
attachment
put
style.
that on our birth certificates.
They
When
need
the
to
house said, listen,
stop.
this child has this type of attachment style, you know.
But it's nurtured. Nurture
Yeah,
has a lot to do
nurture
with
nature,
it.
right.
How your parent treated you. You can see different things such as did you come from an affectionate household? Did your parents say they love you? Did you get a lot of hugs? Did you get a lot of kisses? All of that got a lot to do with it. And if you kind of look at your life and how you express love, there's a lot of times a correlation between how you were nurtured then to now. So if you didn't come up with a lot of loves and thank yous, a lot of times people will do the opposite because they're looking for that now.
You know,
That's
and I was
facts.
just about to say, I
That's
did that
facts.
with my children, probably overly. because my kids are 22 and 19, and I'm still, what you doing? Give me a kiss. I love you. I love you. I do a lot of that. I still send texts. Hey, I love you. I'm thinking about you. You're the greatest. So it is that opposite because you want them to have what you thought you should have had.
That's right. That's right.
And I look at it now as like, let's say, my parents, not good or bad or indifferent, but people's parents can't give you what they didn't have.
Period.
You know what I'm saying?
Period.
And I had to come to that because it's so funny because for years in my life, I was like, I'm fine. I'm just what it is. I've been on my own since 15, And so my life hasn't been the fairy tale out of the book of what not, but it hasn't been terrible because I'm here standing still.
I know that's right.
But when I look at what I didn't have, I for certain years in my life, I felt resentment with my parents. Not disrespectful or nothing, but I think I would just be like, man, what in the world? What are you thinking? That kind of thing. Just not for me. Not that they did anything, but it was like I felt resentment. And so when it was my kids, I want to give them everything. I want to love on them. I want to kiss on them. I want to be at everything. I want to be that parent. But then it kind of shifts to both because you need to have a little discipline and stuff. But I didn't know how to balance that. Didn't know how to balance that. I did like, what do you want? What can I do? I'm going to do anything and everything. I'm going to buy you everything. I'm going to do, I'm going to spend all my time. But there's a balance that we need to have. And then going into when you were saying as far as even relationships, either in children or in adults, let's just say with adults, do you find that when you are sitting talking to people, 2 questions, that you can already tell what type of how attachment that they have when you're talking to them? And the other question would be, when it comes to relationships, do you find that people you talk to, because in me, I've looked at this, dating the same type of person and you're getting the same results and you're still not happy?
No, yeah, I think that's pretty common.
It's like, why?
It has a lot to do. Number one, yes, I can generally tell the attachment styles if I'm assessing them in a certain way. So I have to assess them a specific way to hear their attachment style.
Okay.
Or to take me a little longer to grasp it at times. And then, of course, human beings are, like creatures of habit. It's not even, it's not rocket science why we do the same thing over and over again. Like, we like what we like.
Yeah.
And
but then we don't, though. We don't, though.
We be liking what we like, even though it's weird because it's insanity. Like, and I know we part
That's
here relationships when it comes to trauma and mental health because it's so relatable. But like, you'll talk to your homeboys or your girlfriends or whatever. They're like, man, wasn't he just like, yeah. But like human companionship has a lot to do with comfort and familiarity. And so it's kind of like, yeah, I know it's not good for me, but I know this type.
Right.
I know how to deal
know
with
what to
it.
expect.
I know what to expect.
And we was talking about that. Yeah,
That's
what
why
to expect,
people
the good
do
or the
it.
bad.
The
At least
good
you know
or the
what to
bad.
expect, and you're comfortable with that.
You comfortable.
Know what to expect.
So going to, you have been, dating zebras, and like you gonna keep dating a zebra.
I want a giraffe.
But right. But you saying like, but here's the truth. Like, a giraffe is good for you, but it's kind of like, I don't know if I want a giraffe because these zebras do this, and I'm so comfortable with them, and they do things that excite
They're
me.
black and white.
So that's why people
But you're
do
right
it.
about that.
It's
Because when you do
comfort.
self-evaluation, it's like, what you're attracted to. Like, I guess whatever it is that women are attracted to. So man that looks like this big, got this, do this. Oh, man, I like this, like this. But then days come, and then it's like, when they say the honeymoon season's over, then they're like, dang, they're like this.
It goes to the cycle. It's
and it's
all the
same.
cycle.
Because I told my friends, all the guys that you dated, I don't think we talked about it, all the guys that you dated, what is the same thing in each one of them?
It's the same thing there. It's
Yeah,
for sure.
for sure it's the same thing.
It's
what is the
beards
same
for
thing?
me.
It's very
Are you dating?
I love beards. I love
beards.
I
thought
love a
you said
man that
spirits. I
no
was like,
beards. I like a man that look like a lion, look like a gorilla, look like he like it's when he come in looking like he'll whoop everybody but me.
Do you?
I like that. Don't touch him. Don't talk to me, and leave us alone. He's mine. I like just
Presence.
confidence. We walk.
Confidence.
Y'all move out the
Confidence
way
is
when you see
big.
us coming.
I like that.
That's good.
That's what I like too.
I like
so
that.
a
I
lot
like
of
to feel
times,
safe.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? To
But
feel
when,
safe.
when you look at it too, those types of men are angry. Either they angry sometimes, or they dope boys. You know what I'm saying? If you think about
My
it.
number is, no, I'm sorry.
Mine is 214-502-2918. That's it, the real. No, but I get it. But it's just a certain thing. Like, I know for a fact that I like those types of men because of my dad. My dad is a very powerful man in Jamaica. Everybody, well, not everybody, but in his city, they know
He the
him.
man.
He the man. He up there with the police, the top dog. So anything he want, to them is no, but to him is yes because of the cloud.
Yeah.
He makes it happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why it runs through me. But if I see a man that looks like he's of power,
That's what I like.
He has
I
people
do.
working for him. He don't have to lift a finger.
like a boss.
He's the boss.
I like a boss.
Oh, because I need somebody I can learn something
I like
from.
a boss.
A boss.
A boss.
Up or the boss.
It depends if it's me and him, the boss, or a boss.
Okay, but you the real boss. Okay. Yeah, so that's just what I know I like. And I always have a man. It seems like every time I have a man or I leave, I've had probably like 3 true relationships. Each one, I got better with my choice, each one.
That's good.
You know what I'm saying? I saw the progress in my choice. However, they all had, their downfall. And I think that's just me being a queen and the way I was raised. I'm not going to settle. But there has to be balance, too.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna dump everybody. You're going to give up. You know?
I'm gonna say this though.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I was just gonna butt in real quick.
Go for it.
I think that we all probably attract the same look, but what about them?
And you know what?
Their
look,
characteristics
it's not
is
a
on the
look for
inside
me.
of it.
It's a. I
Of
mean, I
them,
guess
I
it
mean.
would be a look, but no, because if I look like when I look at my real relationships, they're different.
They
a
all
feeling.
look
They
different, but
look different.
something on them on the inside is the
Yes,
same.
yes, it's something
Right.
about them that I'm definitely attracted to. Like I
Right.
said, it's power. It stands. It's when you come into a room, it's just I don't know. It's something I can't even put the word on it. It's like
Their aura.
that is the aura. It is that.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I like a boss. And then when I say boss, not a bossy, a person who stands in his own, who is very sure,
A man
who
that's
is
confident.
confident, who is
Okay.
secure, who smells good,
Uh-huh.
but treats me good too. But safe. I think when I think about it, safe is very important to me. And I don't mean safe as you gonna fight everybody. That's not what I mean.
Yeah.
Safe with me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Make me feel safe when it comes to my heart because I am very
Okay.
guarded. I am very shielded. Somebody who can have a conversation with me and understand me, you know. And I was going to say earlier, when I did see my therapist too, and I read a lot of books on that kind of stuff too, but understanding, one thing I did learn is understanding with your spouse where they come from and how they grew up
So important.
allows you to understand how they deal with different situations when you're in that situation, right? So, I mean, of course I don't have a problem with communication. You know what I'm saying? The communication ain't really a problem. It's how I communicate when I get to a certain level that I might have to God's still working on
Get
me.
some skills. It's all
God's
right.
still working on me.
It's all
But
right.
I do try to be very present and mindful of other people's feelings. But it's but knowing where they come from. Another thing is, like, I've looked at the guys I've dated. They all have families and grew up in families, still with their families, aunts, uncles, big family. You know, and that's always important to me. You know, I didn't have that, so I looked at all the opposites that I'm attracted to. It's like, you know, but learning how them learning me and understanding me too is very important because that you'll know how to conversate with me. 'Cause
Yes.
one thing I don't like to be talked at, and I don't like to feel smaller than, and because that'll make me shut down and be like, you know, like I had one of my relationships which was toxic, and I can constantly that toxic, and I stayed it, and then loved him to death, and then I hated it.
Sure.
I hated it. I told you I be like, what in the world is wrong with me? You know, really, I need to see somebody.
Were you
How am I in love-
comfortable?
But it's like those toxic relationships.
how
You
am I in
love
love with
them the
somebody
most,
I know-
though.
Yeah.
I know
That's right.
ain't no good for me.
Right.
right.
You know it's no
Oh,
good, but
yeah.
it's
No, it
hard
ain't no
to
good for me.
remove yourself from it.
I mean,
It can take
I don't
years.
have that much of a
Yeah.
problem removing myself, but it, you know, because I try to be patient. So the reason why I do stay is because, okay, for one, I feel like my word is so important. If I said I'm gonna be here, I'm gonna be here. So that's kind of what
Loyalty will keep you there.
I said I was gonna stay.
Yeah,
but,
that's right. That's right.
But yeah, being able to know those things, because I found that's very important. Learning where people's background and learning how to deal. So when it comes to even not just relationship traumas, although we're here talking about this, when it comes to any traumas, and again, it comes to what are the first 3 steps? Let's just start there that you can do to help yourself overcome a trauma after you know that you do have a trauma in that specific situation or realm or whatever it is.
Good question. So what I usually guide people to do, let's say somebody call my office. That means they've already realized, man, something I'm doing isn't working. So what I would, of course, then I would advise them to be like, let's explore what your triggers are, period, and what actually got you to this point. Because the one thing you keep saying, which is really good, is like it starts with like being really honest with yourself. So when people come to me, I'm like, look, we're going to have to be really, really, really honest for us to get anywhere. And so I think that when people are trying to face those traumas, they're going to have to be really, really honest with the things they've kind of hid in the back of their minds. Because we got to survive, defense mechanism wise. And so you got to make that time to go ahead and look at those little dark corners. You tuck stuff away. That's the first part. And then commit to working on it. Then commit to working on it without a timeline. Being active.
Stop being so impatient.
Yeah.
Be patient with yourself. Have grace over yourself.
Grace. That's the one.
Because even if you want, like if you go on a fast, I'm not eating no meat, and you slip up and eat a chicken wing.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? That don't mean that the fast is over. You get on your
knees,
knees and you say, God, I ate that wicked wing, Lord. And I knew I shouldn't have went to Henderson's Chicken and got that 6-piece wing basket with extra seasoning. But Lord,
that's right.
Tomorrow is a new day.
We gonna start
and
it
we
again.
still got 20 days in the fast. The first day you done failed the fast.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that you failed.
Yeah.
Dust yourself off and try it and don't try. Do it.
You got to do it. People get weary. You know what I'm saying? With working on themselves, because once we really start, really unraveling this thing, people don't want to really see like, oh shoot, that's me. Like that's really what I did. Think about it. How often you see someone post or have talked to someone, maybe one-on-one, but you've never heard people really say, you know what, I'm real messed up. People are saying it a little more now.
That's me.
I say it all the time. Listen,
I know I'm a little thrown off
Listen.
in that area. I know.
I give a disclaimer right when you meet me.
for it.
Listen, if you ready to travel this road, I have a warning. As a big old circle with an X. Now, if you can overcome all that, and we might be good.
And
It's gonna take some work though.
to even get to that point is a huge step, especially when we can express it to someone else.
Yeah.
Most of the time, it's always everybody else's fault. You know what I'm saying?
They
It's
used
just
to be.
human
That
nature.
used to be me too.
Yeah, but
And you know what's funny? I didn't think that. I always thought it was me. I mean, I don't now. Now it's like, nah, I ain't crazy. I ain't go out and sleep with that woman. You did that by yourself.
Yeah. Some
That
people
was,
blame
but
you.
I did. I was like, well, how was I not good enough? What did I not do? And then, then I sit and I sit in these thoughts like, and then don't let me see who you to mess around. And now I'm comparing, like, dang, like, no, I don't do that. No, I don't like this. This is what me, but what you want. This one, but I'm even in, when it comes to my kids, or kids, I've had kiddos. I was a foster parent. It's like, okay, well, how did their parents parent? What makes me parent different? How can I parent better? You know what I mean? So I used to do a lot of comparing, like, how can I be better? For my circle.
it's okay.
But comparing tears you down, though. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot.
I think
It's a
that's
lot.
needed, though, that analysis. I didn't look at it when you were saying it like it was a bad thing, because you're dealing with other children. You're dealing with a past. You're dealing with you're taking someone that's close to you, just like your child that has no blood or anything. So you need to understand what they went through to understand how to make you better. That's why we're here.
Right.
We want to help our audience become better.
Absolutely.
So it's nothing wrong with that, but I just think balance. You know
I think
what I'm saying?
right, and I think we use a lot, and it is balance, because you don't want to compare it to where you're not doing something wholeheartedly, or you never want to do something just to get a one-up.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
You want to do something because it's the right thing to
The right
do.
thing to do.
And but that's kind of how I did look at things. So I never looked at like it was him, it was hers. It's like, man, what did I do? I mean, even in some friendships, it's like, dang, what did I do? How did I, But I had to learn to say sometimes it just is what it was. It's not that I may have did or not did anything. Maybe that person's going through their own thing. But yeah, I would eat that. I would take a lot of that, and I would carry that. Like, oh, okay.
Now I want to say this too, so like people who are watching understand. Now there are a couple of differences. We are using like the term trauma generically,
Okay.
but once you go to therapy, for those of you who have been, there are things that can give you actually like trauma-based diagnosis too.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of like, we hear the word PTSD a lot, and a lot of times it's connected to like the military, but that's another conversation.
Another realm.
We're talking about like a lot of people have PTSD. One thing that we rarely talk about. I specialize in kids. With my business, and so one of the big things we always kind of be quiet about, especially as Black folk, is like child sexual abuse. Were you abused as a child in any type of way? Like it did have an effect. Don't matter if you don't let it have an effect or tuck it away. Those type of things. So are you dealing with PTSD from abuse, or even if it's not sexual, are you dealing with physical abuse or abandonment as a child? Like those things disrupt how you grow and you develop your trust in other people, of course. They disrupt how you're supposed to help bond with people in a healthy way. So like I just want people to to hear that like you can have symptoms, but sometimes if something happened to me, so I'm triggered, right? But it's no diagnosis. You don't meet the diagnostic criteria. It's kind of like I'm triggered by this and I got to watch out. But there are some things that will happen and say, you know what, this really disrupts my life. And I've come to, Cleveland, and after we've talked and going through this assessment, I have post-traumatic stress disorder or something that matter. So like we do have to kind of look at those things, but we need to deal with all of them with the same intensity and accordingly, especially if you know for sure they're disrupting your life.
But when you talk about, let's say physical abuse as a child, now, I mean, I don't know how old you are or what era, but like back when I was younger, I feel we was abused when we got spankings. I do, compared to what discipline is now. You know what I mean? So, would you say when you are diagnosing people that you're working with, do you look at like their background? Do you look at their age? Because like the way we got spankings, not the same way you can spank your child now.
I'll say this. Watch this. So, it's important when we're working with people to put things in context, right?
Okay.
But as a father, and I have a smaller child, but if you've been a parent, I believe, I'm not going to say everybody, because some people have not got to the point where they have that type of restraint or understanding of discipline, because we usually copy discipline from those who come before us. Right. But there is absolutely, I don't care if it was the 1910s, it's absolutely a line of abuse there.
I agree.
Legally by the state, you can discipline a child, and they define it out. This is how you should do it, so forth on. Open palm, on the bottom, like it's specific. It's saying it's not abuse. But, if I am, every time I whoop you, you're bleeding. You know what I'm saying? Or you're getting permanent marks, which did happen a lot of times in older time, because we're not getting 1 or 2 switches, we getting a few.
Right.
And, my grandmama left some whelps on me. They healed. But I do, truth of the matter is there is a line. Because parents be doing all types of crazy stuff, who've come through my office to these kids who got referred to me when I had like my DFPS contract a couple years ago. Like, you can't tell their hand to sit out there and you burn it with cigarette. It's called abuse. Like to anybody, But so we always put it in cultural context, because remember this, what I have learned is working with these kids, not all kids react well to being physically spanked. Some kids, you can tell, go to the corner, you on punishment, and they respond just as well. Right. So regardless if it was culturally accepted, that don't mean they're not traumatized.
That's right. Okay.
And what if that person that will go to the corner and it is beneficial? What if that person is beat?
That's right.
And it don't even take that.
It don't even take that.
It don't even take
it's trauma.
Right.
It can traumatize. But it's Black folk, like, we don't care. We beat you. You know what I'm saying? But, which is a whole other conversation. But, we do, yes, that does cause trauma. For sure. For sure.
I did have a question. Miss Ebony asked a question, and it deleted for me. But she was asking, what are some other coping mechanisms or strategies you can use other than therapy?
Good question. So, number one, I'm going to say this because I know other people keep coming in and listening, so I'm going to keep repeating it on purpose. Like, one, if you're not willing to deal... with stuff straightforward and face it, you cannot advance. It's just not going to happen. It's like it's going to be band-aiding it. So long as you're willing to really look at stuff as they are, no matter how ugly it look, when you look in that mirror, you can move forward with the coping skills. Some of the coping skills you can do is journaling. Okay. That's a big one I give people. People writing out all their emotions, making sure they put it in a safe place so they can put it on their phones. Because when you're journaling, you need to be explicit as possible. Okay. Like explicit as possible. Explicit journaling. Because you got to get it out of you. That's what we need to do. So like when people come to me, I'll be like, look, they'll say stuff like, can I cuss in here? And I'll be like, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because you and you're meeting a stranger, you're saying like,
but they respect you. That's
how,
all.
This is all of it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. How real can I be? And that's why I always lead off with, there's nothing you're going to tell me that's going to surprise me. And for the most part, I've only been surprised one time. Nothing. No matter how far your mind can go, I'll be like, you know, I'm trained to look at you with a blank face.
I want to know what the surprise was.
He ain't gonna tell
I know he can't. I'm like,
I don't know who it is.
Right.
But you know, for the most part, you know, we train depending on, you know, and I work with a lot of trauma, so you know that goes into the deep end. Yeah. But first thing, journaling, Ebony. The other thing is doing meditation. That's very important. I have just started doing a lot of meditation. A lot of people struggle with it because when you close your eyes and you get quiet, it seems noisy. My cousin actually got me to start meditating. When you close your eyes, you begin to meditate, whether you do it to music or not. It's okay for it to be a little noisy in your brain. You got to move through the noise. It's okay. Most people be like, man, I can't do it because my mind be going all over the place. It's a part of getting used to it.
Well, you know what I learned on that to meditation, because that my mind goes. You know, it just goes. It's hard to turn it off. But what I learned on that to try to meditate, because I do it every morning, is when I go to meditate, you know, things will pop up. Those clothes in the dryer. Okay, or you know, my day yesterday, or then you'll start to think about other stuff and then stay on that. Like, but I've learned to, in my mind, for me, I have what I call like my blank space. My blank quiet space. So for me, in my mind, I've come up with, I have the sunrise and I have the ocean. And what I do is I focus on that line in between. And it quiets me. Therefore, I can think about what I want to think about. And I can put those things into the air. Like, this is how I want my day to go. This is the things I need to think about. These are the people who I need to pray for. And then meditate and reflect. You know, but that's what I do to quiet my mind. I find I call it my blank quiet space. So where the sky meets the ocean, I focus on that skyline right there.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
And once I can sit and I can do that, and the quiet just disappears for me.
Good.
You know, well, the noise just disappears for me, and then I can sit in quiet and I can really focus, because my mind is noisy.
You got to get that imagery.
It's noisy in here, you know. But that is a good thing, and I've learned that meditating, thinking, praying, whatever people want to call it on their end, is really good, and it's really healthy, and it's really good to reflect. You know, reflect on where you've been, reflect on where you're trying to go, and how you're going to get there. But you do have to quiet it a little bit.
You know? Quiet it. Another one is walking. If you're able to walk.
Being in nature.
Being in nature, period. Getting out in the sun. And when I say this, like, you have to do this stuff on a regular basis. If you don't make a habit of it, you won't see the long-term effects. We get out in the sun and we walk. I walk every day. I got in the sun 7 a.m. usually, 6:30, because you want the sun to touch you. It releases endorphins, so that's why we do it. At least 30 minutes a day. So if you know that, you know, you're not, you know, really prepared to go to a therapist, but you want to do some work, that's okay. So you got journaling, you got meditating, you got walking, making sure you can get in the sun. In Texas, that's easy for us. You also have, if you're able to find anyone to talk to, you want to be able to like talk in community. And what I mean by that is, I call it phone a friend. Meaning, do you have anyone in your circle or outside of your circle, you know, that you can kind of connect with and be like, look, this is what's going on. A lot of us, you know, and so a lot of times we feel like the people we tell stuff to, we got to be super close to them. But a lot of times you don't have to. You can, you'll really, if you're prayerful, you'll find someone. Y'all might not be super close, but y'all are on the same path. And when stuff happens, you'll find that person to talk to. A lot of times the people in your circle can't relate to what you're going through. So you end up kind of walking that road alone, which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
But literally sometimes reach out and try to find someone that you connect to. How do you do that? Through groups. Like
Is
the
there a
Lioness
hotline
group.
or anything like that?
Right.
Like there is you know how there's a hotline for this, a hotline
There
for
are.
that? Is there a hotline where you can get in
Group, the Lioness group.
Oh, the Lioness. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, because, you know, we talking about this. Like I said, there are hotlines. Support groups are good.
Yes.
You'll find that it's almost just as encouraging to go into groups or whatever online to kind of, and I'll say this real cautiously. Sometimes you got to be cautious when you are trying to kind of put together a bunch of skills and you find groups of people going through common things, because your mind will start gravitating to what you want to hear.
Yeah.
So you got to be kind of careful about it, because one thing I don't want you to do is be distracted from what you don't want to hear.
Absolutely.
That's why you gotta have discernment.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right. And when you're on this journey, sometimes they don't, you haven't earned it. You haven't earned it yet through the journey. You know, that discernment. So like, be careful about the groups and finding, but like, it can be helpful to find someone in there. So those would be like the baseline things I would say. If you're not gonna get a therapist, you can start with doing, and they do work.
That's why me personally, I would rather talk to someone who doesn't know me, because your friends can be very biased,
Mm-hmm.
and they can tell you things what they think is best for you and not really what's good for you. So,
That's good.
and I kind of want to come back to the meditation thing. I think that a lot of people just think that, oh, when I meditate, I just sit and and that's not really what it is.
Yeah.
You can meditate while you're driving, don't even realize you're meditating. You just zone out, and you be like, "Damn, excuse me." You be like, "Dang, how did I get
In a
here?
safe space.
How did I get here?" You don't even know how you got there, because
That's
the whole
right.
time you probably were meditating, didn't even realize. Or you can be meditating while doing chores, or you, like you said, outside taking a walk, going to the gym. All that is forms of meditation. It's not just literally sitting on the floor on the mat and trying to clear your brain, because that's going to be hard for a lot of people
Right.
whose brain be on 1,000 all the time.
Absolutely. And then too, getting to know yourself.
Right.
Like I tried dating myself. I'm expensive.
Wow.
It's all right though. Know who you are.
This is a short snippet. I said, oh, I'm going to date myself, get to know myself, know what I like, dislike, this kind of thing. And I went to Del Frisco. I don't even remember what I ate. I had something to eat, 2 glasses of wine. They brought me that bill. And I was like,
150.
oh,
Yeah,
right. I was
yeah,
like,
Del
oh,
Frisco.
that's why they be
Right
mad.
now.
But
Okay.
I said, oh,
It's good. It's good.
But what I've learned is getting to know myself and being with myself. That's a lot.
It
You know,
is.
just
Just
getting
imagine
to know
a man
yourself.
wanted to come in on what's a lot.
Yeah, well, when I say it's a lot, it's like how I think, how I move, how I act. You know what I'm saying? What I want, what I desire, what I need. Versus what I want.
Yes.
And when I've had to look at those things, because it's like, well, get in not necessarily an argument, a conversation. Well, what is it that you want? What is it that you want? I don't know what I want, but I know one thing: I don't want this.
I know that's right.
That's good. I'm gonna tell you what I
You know?
did recently. I was laughing when you said something ago when we was talking about attraction. So like, maturity would change all of that, and growth
Yes,
on purpose.
it does.
I was looking. I was like, when I first got to Dallas, 2018. I've been through a lot since I've been here actually, but I was thinking about what I was attracted to then, and I have had moments I was like, ew. You know what I'm saying? Like, for real. If you ever had an ill moment, sometimes I'd be
have.
like, I don't know if you've been doing any self-work. You should have had an ill moment. There's no way you're still attracted to the same thing.
That's right.
And I'm talking about physically, mentally. There were things as I've grown that I thought I liked, right? And then when I did my list, I got a prayer list. I was like, all right, God. Now at the big age I'm at now, and at this level of emotional intelligence, because I really work hard to say like I'm decently emotionally intelligent. Let me write down everything I like now, and I thought about the list I made before, and when I compared them, when I actually got to experience that list I made before, when I really thought I was mature, I really can't handle none of that stuff. To be honest with you, you know what I'm saying? I had specific things that I really thought I liked, and when I look back on, I'm like, man, I don't like none of that stuff. Like, how did I even think I would like some of that stuff? But like the maturity and the growth of it allows us to kind of get to that point where we can say that. And so dating myself has allowed me to be like, this is a good list.
Right.
right? And now, here the hardest part, once again, the traumas that make us not do this, like being alone. Like nobody want to be alone nowadays. But like you gotta ride it. Sometimes you gotta ride this thing on
Ride
out.
it on out.
Alone. And
be okay with that.
Being
though.
alone has been
Be okay with
the
that.
biggest blessing. Like, it really if you just sacrifice, be alone, fight them phone calls, fight your triggers talking to you, because certain things will trigger us. We may see something on social media and be like, maybe I need, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
if you
yeah.
really just fight it and commit to being alone for a moment, just a moment, to like literally deal, get on your routine, get your fitness together, don't get your spiritual life together.
Yeah.
We keep putting that to the side. Your spiritual life need to always be on point. Whether you believe in God or not, spirituality. So, your spiritual life need to be on point. If it's not, you'll feel lacking, and not realize, man, why is everything off? Gotta be praying.
Gotta get in alignment.
Period.
And that's what I was just talking to Millie about. I was down this week. I was like, I was off alignment with God, and I could tell the difference. And I could tell the difference in how I looked. It was something, I don't
It's gonna
know.
be
It's like,
physical, as you said.
yeah, when I'm in alignment, I look different.
That's
but
real.
when I'm not alignment, I be like,
Cause it's shining from the inside out.
Yeah.
Like you gotta be it. So your mental health need to be on point. So that's why I said earlier, I take a holistic approach to mental health because I'm actually doing it. That was really important for me to be like, all right, you get into another level in your business now. So like you're gonna have to do everything you tell people to do. I can honestly say I do everything I tell other people to do.
Leader.
For sure.
Good leader.
you have to lead by example.
For sure I
Yeah.
do it. And the things I struggle on, those are the things I work at even harder, So like that's the human part. Like, yo, I am actually doing all this stuff I'm telling you to do, and these are where I'm struggling at, but I'm still doing it every day. And so the mental, the physical, the spiritual, but I only was able to get to this point where I feel like, man, I'm doing my thing by being alone. And here's the truth of the matter: it's simple. It sucks. You know what I'm saying?
It does.
It's super simple, man. It sucks. But I only leveled up alone. This is the only way I got here. So it just got to be done.
We have another question. Ebony said, thank you. She said, you're great and very informative. Lady Di said, how do you deal with anxiety and emotional exhaustion without medication?
That's a good question.
That's an excellent question. All right. So I actually had a consult with this last week. We do a consult every week with one of the psychiatrists. All right. So you got a couple choices when you're dealing with anxiety. And things that may be more preferable with a small dosage of something, okay?
Okay.
So the skills we talked about, number one, do help. Only two things you do for anxiety. You gotta recognize your triggers that make your anxiety shoot up, out of the roof, number one. And then you're gonna have to go ahead and implement something else holistic. And so a lot of the things holistic that we do for our clients is gonna always go back to, back to the meditation, back to, even if you're not meditating, can you find somewhere quiet when you feel your symptoms coming on? Because this is what anxiety looks like. The biggest thing that happens with anxiety is when you have like a panic attack or something. That's when, of course, the manifestation of anxiety is coming outside of your body clearly. But it's triggered by something. So your first thing to do is identify what those triggers of anxiety are and find a holistic way to literally treat it. Most of the time, we got to remove ourselves from the situation so that we won't pacify anxiety on something unhealthy. So those are the best two things you can do in lieu of trying to not get a little medical assistance. There are a lot of holistic things you can do to calm down as well. You got to kind of see which one of those fit for yourself. Know the triggers. Go to some place quiet. Make a habit of it. Also, to ease anxiety, it's still going to go back to the things we talked about. Can you get in nature for a couple of moments? Can you etch out a little bit of time for yourself so you can slow down your brain, slow down your mind? One thing, make sure we don't forget, none of your mental health triggers will get better if you ain't get enough sleep at night. That's a big one. Sleep has a vital impact on like how our brains function.
Yes.
And so if you're not getting enough, you'll start feeling your depression, your anxiety, your other mental health symptoms. They'll start getting out of control. You won't really realize why.
When you,
that's right.
Because I had that where I couldn't sleep. It's hard to sleep when you got so much just going on. so much in your mind, it won't turn off. Because I was like, my mind wouldn't turn off. And a lot of people say, well, I'm up late, I can't sleep, I can't sleep. So when it's those terms where you do need to have enough sleep, and that goes to about even the physical of your body needs enough sleep. What do you do to get that sleep so you can function?
They advise two things we utilize. One, if you're not willing to take a sleep aid, some of my kids, of course, take sleep aids.
Like a glass of wine?
You could. If it ain't your vice. If it ain't your vice. Honestly, because, red wine is good for heart health.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is.
But
a bottle's better.
I didn't say
that. I know what you're getting for your birthday.
But they actually advise cutting off your phone an hour in advance.
Wow.
Before you go to sleep. That's very important.
Okay.
Melatonin, if you're medically able to do it, is very important. Sleep sounds do help. Frequencies, of course, is what that has to do with. Frequencies. They've done research on how frequencies, of course, affect our mood. Mm-hmm. You want to have a frequency that's going to make you calm down. Okay. I'm giving, of course, suggestions without medication. Clearly, you can, from your PCP, get subscribed to sleep aid.
Yes.
But if you don't want to, shutting down that phone, laying in the dark, listening to soft music or ambient sounds and melatonin, and possibly if you have the time and you have the energy, taking a hot bath with a sleep aid in it. Dr. tells us to move, and we don't really realize how it really calms our body down overall.
I didn't know that he. I didn't know you could put that in the tub.
They have
the Epsom salt lavender.
They have everything now. It's like 10 different type of varieties of stuff. I use the lavender because it smell good. Or the cocoa butter one.
Okay.
But those are the things you can do in lieu of medicine.
So basically, calming your body, like
relaxing.
You have to calm it.
To calm it down. It's kind of like what we do with babies, let's just say, to get them, like my grandbaby comes, we're going to eat dinner, going to take a bath.
A routine.
I'm going to rub him down, I'm going to pat him, and he's out, So, yeah, I get that. And that's probably something that should be done several times a week for ourselves that I think would be healthy. Another thing you were saying. Say it again, baby. Self-care.
That's
absolutely.
Right.
That's something to put on the list. You were saying something about anxiety. Because I'm familiar with anxiety in my own life. I didn't know, and I guess I would want you to tell some of our viewers as well, I didn't know I was having anxiety. I thought that this is just how I am. Does that make sense? Because I'm already high-strung, I'm already got a lot of energy, but when anxiety would come, I didn't know that's what that was until I was told, well, you're having anxiety. I'm like, no, I can't, I'm wound up, So how does a person know that they're having anxiety? And again, without medication, what can you do to for that anxiety at that moment, so you don't break into a panic attack?
It depends on what your anxiety is related to, because the issue is you don't know if you have. Here's a concrete example. Let's say someone is bipolar, okay, and there are different types of bipolar that don't look like what people always talk about. And they may feel like they have anxiety, but really they're in a manic space. You get what I'm saying? And so when you're in a manic space, that means that you may have racing thoughts.
Okay.
That may mean that you feel like you have a lot of energy. So it's hard to answer a lot of questions when we won't slow down for a moment to kind of see if there are any other underlying issues. So to really pinpoint it, besides it just being straight general anxiety, besides the things we kind of talked about that can help slowing down, there could be other layers. So that's why I always advise, when in doubt, go to a therapist or your PCP, because you want to discover, like, man, I've done this, but my mind has not slowed down, because there are some things that cannot. This is my personal professional opinion, cannot be totally taken care of without a smidgen of medical intervention. So it just depends.
So you was talking about triggers a minute ago, and I know that we have here the different types of triggers that you were discussing: external triggers, internal triggers, trauma triggers, symptom triggers. How do you know what's a trigger for you? Like, because if you don't know that you're having anxiety and you don't know that this is making you feel this way, how do you know that you're being triggered?
Well, I think we talked about it definitely a lot earlier. It's about self-awareness.
Okay.
Number one.
Starts with self-awareness.
Self-control.
It starts with
That's right.
self-awareness.
Everything starts with self.
Self-awareness.
Everything knowing. Okay.
Because a lot of times we don't know that we're even being triggered.
Right.
It'll look like, every time somebody does blank, I do this. Fill in whatever the blank is.
Right.
And you've been doing it so long, you kind of like, this is how I am.
Right.
Nah, it's a trigger. That's why you respond. So you got to look at, like, are the responses that you're having, are they impacting your life in a negative way? That's kind of a way to kind of like filter out or weed out like what the triggers are. Because some triggers, if it's not super disruptive, then maybe you might miss it. But if you really become self-aware and really start paying attention and doing inventory, that's what it boils down to. Because outside of that, there'll be no way to know if it's a trigger.
Yeah.
It's not possible. So you got to literally be intentional and say, dang, okay, Khalid, what am I triggered by? And a good way to start kind of look at your triggers are look at your interactions, the people you interact with, how they're impacting you, how you respond to them, how you feel when you're not interacting with them after they leave. That's a good way to see the triggers. Like, how do I feel once they leave my presence?
When they leave, if you go like,
Right.
you take a deep breath.
Now you can start there.
Stress.
Now you can start there.
And that's identified. I've been like that. I've been on the phone with someone, and literally,
The phone will ring.
this is how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on the phone, and then when they go, it's like, oh. Now what were you saying?
Now watch it. Let's use that for a minute.
Yeah.
Then you will say, okay, am I triggered by them? Am I triggered by something that they said, or is it me? That's how you do an inventory. Like you got to look at all of it.
What was the cause?
What was the
Mine
cause?
be the energy. Like
Right.
it be the energy. If you're not positive, if you're not cracking a joke, if you're not informing me about anything, if we're not talking about making money, I'm not interested.
Okay, cool. So that's a trigger. So that means what a person would say then is, okay, there are people I'm talking to right now that when they call, they zap my energy because I'm in a space right now where I just want to talk about business. So therefore, that triggers me because I'm in a place where I need to be surrounded by positive energy and they have negative energy. So now how you would progress from that thought process and would say, now I need to make space between me and that person because they're not giving me what I need to continue to grow. They are a trigger for me. That's the thought process that you got to have when you kind of doing that.
Or they
That
just
comes with
holding me
maturity.
back.
What comes with maturity too, because we talked about
For
this
sure.
when we were all together, is different people, different stages in your life and different journeys that you're on. You're traveling a different road than other people. Don't mean they're less than or beneath or anything like that. We're just not together right here on this path. And eventually, for me, I feel like people they'll drop themselves. It doesn't mean it's a good or as a bad thing. We don't have, you know what I'm saying?
You
It's
let
just,
life
I'm trying to
life.
go this, I'm going this way, and you may be going that way, and that's okay.
And
You
I'm
know,
okay with that.
and yeah, and it's okay because I know, but it's good to recognize your journey too. It's good to recognize where are you trying to go. We may not know how to get there exactly from point, but where are you trying to go? Because everybody can't come with you.
Mofo don't know yet though. That's a part of this assessment. Like you got to stop for a moment and even figure out where you're trying to go.
It doesn't even have to be a year. Where are you trying to go next week?
Next week.
Where are you trying to go 6 months? Where are you trying to go a year from now? Because you don't have to have life all figured out right
Nah.
now.
No.
You know,
You're right.
but it's good to have. And I'm a plan person. Y'all know what's the plan.
Mhm.
I know what's the plan.
Yes, that's true. Kimmy.
I
What
need to
are
know
we doing?
What we doing? What's the plan? You tell me what time,
Why?
what to wear, how much, and what I need to do. I need to know the plan because without the plan, I can't function.
You
I'm a
can't know
checklist
what you
person.
don't know what you're expected to do.
You know.
You don't know what you're getting into if you don't know.
And really, I guess that goes to I don't even know if it's a trigger, but I have a control issue, and not knowing is a part of not being in control, and I have a big issue with that.
I do too.
That can bother me a lot.
Especially
I can
when it
lose
comes to
sleep
my
over
child.
that. Yeah, I can lose sleep. Like, oh, tomorrow we're doing this. Well, what time? Well, I don't know. Or where we going? I don't know. What we supposed to wear? I don't know. I
Don't
can't
worry
sleep.
about it.
I can't. Yeah,
I'm a mixture of both.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a free spirit. I just go with the wind.
I'm a free spirit
But
with a
then
plan.
it's kind of like, just give me a little something.
Okay.
But then it's like, okay, yeah, whatever.
And you know what? I would say I agree to that, but I'm a plan free spirit.
Best of
So
both worlds.
we're gonna go on vacation. I'm good. On vacation, I don't want to have to get up early. I don't want no time restraints. Don't tell me I got to be somewhere at 2, then somewhere at 4, then somewhere at this, then meet you for breakfast and dinner. I don't.
You got the
I
high.
I don't trip like that.
Yeah.
I don't.
It'll
know.
drive me crazy.
Vacation.
Me and time management. Don't even count me in when it comes to a certain time. If something started at 4, let me know it started at 2:30.
I know, right?
But I mean, so, like I say, vacation. I'm a plan free spirit. Like I know I'm going here. I plan to do whatever it is when whatever, you know. But I think that comes from, again, a lot of the way that we act and react and how we function comes from how we were raised and how we live life.
I need some
You know,
control over this situation.
A single parent
Yeah.
is a plan.
That's
You know
plan.
what I'm saying? It's a plan. And I'm a plan. Like, I have a book. Everything goes in it. Day by day. And for me, I have to check it off and cross it out. It's like
I love
a
that.
must.
I'm
Do
the
list,
opposite.
baby.
have to.
I cannot go by a plan. If I write
Man.
it down, be like, I'm gonna do this.
I
I'm gonna be like,
have
oh
to.
dang.
I
I just
get
like to
thrown
go
off.
and do it.
I mean, there's
okay.
some things, but if
I work better
go
just
here,
doing it.
do this, my checklist is every day. And
I
I write the
procrastinate
date
if
on
I
there
don't.
every day.
You
I
procrastinate.
procrastinate, so I live off my calendar like you. All my tasks are written down every
Yes.
single day.
Yes.
If it's not on there, my brain feel like
And I'm
it's
the
going
opposite.
crazy.
If I write it down, I'm gonna be like,
But I feel accomplished. To checklist
Me
and
too.
cross out, I feel
Yeah.
That's how I
accomplished.
graduated
do.
college. I
And if
wrote
it-
down everything.
Now, if I wrote
wow,
something
I
on a
wonder
page
what-
today
what does
and I
that
didn't get
mean?
it done,
Some people task
I would
oriented.
write
I'm
it
task
again
oriented.
on the next
Okay.
day. I'll write it again. It's like something I probably wrote down for 2 weeks every day. Because if I don't get
You gotta just write it down.
I
over
wrote it
and
down,
over
and then if it didn't happen today, I write it back on the next day.
Task
It's on the
oriented.
list.
And
See,
that,
my
I hate
thing about
writing,
writing
on the next
things
day.
down, I'm gonna write so much down, I'm gonna forget.
You won't, because you know what? And I teach some people that I teach this too. It makes you feel accomplished, and then too, knowing what you've accomplished throughout the day, that's one of the things that makes me feel good.
For some people who need like for her mind, you know, a lot of times it's kind of like, you know, she more free form.
But she probably got it. Like,
And
this,
she
I
got
this,
it.
this, I'm gonna get it done.
Whereas me, because I
I'll
need
lay
a
on the
check off
couch,
list,
I'll sit around.
I can't
Go out to eat.
I can't free form it. But that works well for you. Some people literally do need like I need complete structure to be
Yes.
successful.
Yes. Yes.
I always have credited myself for being like, man, you go with the flow. Man, I'm terrible going with the flow. I need structure, and then you're gonna see me thrive. But everybody can't do that, and so like I admire people,
Man, I
you know,
do
who can
too.
just say, "No,
This needs
we
to be
finna
done.
do this."
Let's get it done.
Yeah, like
If it ain't no
how?
paper,
I
ain't
feel
gonna
like it
happen.
overwhelms me to see a list of everything that I have to do.
Well, it can be overwhelming. It can
That'll
be.
overwhelm me. It's just like,
But-
okay, I know I gotta do it. Let me just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably should break your list down a little bit more and make it longer so that you can.
Oh, that
Fill
will make me
yourself
even
up.
more
Did
overwhelmed.
she get
because
over?
it's
Well,
so
that'd be
long.
Because, you know,
overwhelming.
some people
Because
do
it's
get
so
overwhelmed.
long.
But there's some times where I have been overwhelmed by my list, especially
Sure.
the things that gotta be done. You know, there's things that you want to get done and things that gotta be done. And sometimes when that list is like this, it can be overwhelming. But what I've learned, and even when I train and teach, is prioritize. You know what I'm saying? Did I say it right?
That's all I do.
Yeah,
That word.
Prioritize. But I've learned to prioritize because it's almost like the domino effect. This right here you get done and allow you to get this done.
Yeah.
This right here you get done, it will allow
That's how I
you
do
to
it,
get
yeah.
this done. It'll free up your time and your time and your efforts and your space to get the things that need to be done first. But like I say, I plan my free spirit.
All right, I like that.
I plan that. But I think it's good to have the best of both of those worlds to make sure that you are able to get those things done. But like he said, too, knowing yourself, knowing what you need. And then, too, being totally honest with yourself and self-evaluation to know what you need versus what you want.
Right,
You know, and that comes in all situations. What kind of job do you need versus what kind of job you want? What kind of relationship do you need versus what kind of relationship you want? What type of person do you want to be versus what type of person are you?
Yeah.
And that goes back
You know
to
what I'm saying?
self.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
you said, everything
Absolutely,
starts with
yeah.
self.
That's right.
You know, so
Well, y'all, I think we have helped our audience. I think we did a great job being transparent. We told a little bit of our business. We told some facts. We listened to some opinions. We have a lot of comments. We thank our viewers for listening and engaging with us tonight.
Thank
This
you.
is like our third session talking about mental health, but we were trying to really focus on triggers because we really want to get to the root. We really want to figure out what's going on. Did you have a question?
I did. This
Go
is
ahead.
what I didn't want to interrupt you, but I did want to say this before we do dismiss ourselves from today. Trigger symptoms often include, and I kind of wanted to mention that so some of our viewers can be aware if that's something that's happening in your lives.
Please do.
And you can kind of back me up because this is a list that
it.
we, of course, didn't make up. We got this from.
No, go for it. It's good.
But feeling scared, panicked, anxious, or unsafe. Elevated heartbeat.
Yeah.
Sweating, difficulty in breathing. These are symptoms that often include something that you're being triggered by. Feeling like you have no control over your emotions. That would probably be one of me. Urge to run away, escape, or other avoidable behavior. Rambunctious or negative automated thoughts. Inexplicable or unpredictable changes in mood. Anxiety or panic attacks, as he was mentioning. Physical tension like clenching the fist or jaw. Flashbacks or stressful or traumatic events. Delayed outbursts of anger and sadness. You know, that's a lot of things that you're being triggered by something that's causing this effect. You know, cause and effect. And I guess what we're getting from today is you want to be aware of these triggers. You want to be aware of something that's triggering you so you know what you can do to eliminate that. You know, like I said, it may be there, but at least you know how to deal with that situation when it arises. And that's not just in relationship. That's in business. That's in self. That's with family. That's with friends. That's with whatever that you're dealing with in your life. You want to know what these triggers are so we can definitely do what you can do to help yourself through those.
Absolutely. Christina says, thank you. I learned something new about identifying triggers tonight. So that's what I like to hear. If it's just one person, we'll take just one. But yes, I'm glad you reverted back to going over those symptoms because some people don't know what it looks or feel like, and you have to break it down. So we're going to go ahead. We want to thank our previous guests and our current guests. We thank you, Mr. Cleveland,
Thank y'all.
for
Appreciate
coming
y'all.
at
So
last
much
notice,
fun.
late notice. You were able to
So
pull
much
it through.
fun.
You were on time. You look good.
Thank you.
So we thank you for your information you've given us today. As well, we want to thank all of our guests that has come over the last 2 seasons. So get ready, those that are out there. We are going into season 3, and it's about to get juicy. It's about to get juicy. Akimi's going to let us know about our announcements.
Yes. So any upcoming events? I know you have some things coming up.
Just I got some subscription groups coming.
Okay.
So please, follow me
On
IG and Facebook. Real Soul Ambassador. That's how to follow me. And look forward to them. The subscription groups are going to be specifically like for parents.
Okay.
That's the first subscription group coming.
Okay.
Every month, one subscription that gives you access to me. I'll meet with groups of parents a couple times a month, and of course keep on putting out content, to help parents who are kind of struggling or need a little guidance, figuring out how to maneuver with their kids. So look out for that subscription service. I'm gonna try to have it live within the next 60 days.
Okay. And how can people reach your business if they're needing to? You say you work with children mostly, right? If they're needing your services, how can they reach you with that, or is there a number?
So my agency is called the Robinson House, and so the website is RobinsonHBH.com. But once again, even if you find me on social media, if you inbox me, and asking, and people do all the time when I post something, asking questions about kids, how can I find mental health services, I'll always respond to the inbox. I'm always checking, even if it goes to the other box, I'll see it. Okay. So feel free, it's always a mode to find me on. Even if you don't see me as a therapist, I have other therapists that could be a good fit for you, or you could be in my agency, or I can refer out. But we'll make sure you get the help you need.
And where's your agency located?
We're both. So we hybrid.
Okay.
And so a lot of the times we do most of our therapy online. I do limited sessions right there in South Dallas for right now. But been in business now for 5 years. So we ready to help.
All right, guys, reach out to Mr. Cleveland Robinson if you're needing assistance or you have any questions and you're not sure. I'm definitely sure that he can definitely help you with all that information. Like he said, he gave you all of his social media contacts. Reach out to him, ask the question, and he'll be able to direct you to where you need to go. As far as upcoming events, we do as the Lioness Experience, we do have a meetup going to be coming up. Stay tuned for that. Details will be coming up soon. We want all you guys to just meet up. We're just going to hang out, have a good time, get to know each other, do some laughs, some giggles and some fun. Did you have anything coming up, Ma?
I do. I actually have a Mother's Day sale coming up for all my ladies or fellas who wants to buy their mother, wife, girlfriend, child's mother a wig. The sale will start on Sunday tomorrow. Well, it's not tomorrow. On Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday.
Day after tomorrow.
Yeah, day after tomorrow.
Because I'm one of those who like bundles for a gift.
I know that's
Don't play with me. A bag of bundles. Heard me.
A bag of bundles.
A bag of bundles.
That's a new one.
But it definitely, again, and stay tuned for our next topic on May the 12th. I don't know why I keep thinking of 14th. May the 12th, we're going to be doing candid conversations with all the lioness. Ow. So I got to get that down. I'm going to practice on that.
We can win some call-ins, right?
Yes, we're doing call-ins next
gonna do
week.
some
I mean, on our
call-ins.
next
Okay.
section.
Hey,
So,
Guys, and reach out to us on our Facebook page. Let us know some topics that you may be interested in that we can sit here and talk about with you and us here. So, yeah, give us some ideas of what you're thinking and what you would like to hear us talk about. Nothing is
off limits.
off limits.
Yes.
Nothing is off limits.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what it's about.
So, but yeah, catch us May 12th. Again, meet up. We're going to have the details coming to you soon. Happy Mother's Day for those that are mothers. Well, happy Mother's Day to everybody because all of y'all have a mother.
Yeah. All right. Boom, boom. All right, Kiwi.
All right. And we just, again, want to say thank you to all of our guests and the Lioness. Millie, tell us.
Wrap it up. All right.
Yeah.
We're out of here, you guys. We'll see y'all back
Thank
May
y'all.
12th.
Thank y'all.
We thank you again for listening. Remember your triggers. Take data. Know who you are and hold yourself accountable.
Absolutely.
I like that.
See you guys
Y'all
next
have a
time.
good
Thank y'all.
night.
All right. Good night.
Good night.